This is The Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral.com.
Good afternoon, Tuscaloosa, Internet World, West Alabama. How are we doing today on this Tuesday? It's Christmas Eve. Welcome in. This is the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central and BamaCentral.com. Hanging out with us inside the Derek Daniel State Farm Studios. I am Joe Gaither. You are the listener, the viewer, and the pleasure is all yours, as our friend Jesse Ventura might say. You're watching us on YouTube. You are watching us on Facebook, Twitter, or right there on my own Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at Joe Gaither 6, or you're listening to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon. The Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central. We're hanging out with my friend Mason Woods. You can follow him at MAWoods_ on the Twitter machine. He is coming to us live from parts unknown as he's celebrating holidays with his family. Parts unknown, Alabama, as he's celebrating holidays with his family. And we appreciate him stepping away from the eggnog and giving us some of his time today. Mason Woods, good afternoon. How are you doing, sir?
No, I'm doing good today. Doing good. It's Christmas Eve. We're getting closer to the big day. It's been great to just be home, spend time with my family. I always love coming home for a bit. Ready to get back to Tuscaloosa though.
Second Merry Christmas or first? It's second.
Do what?
It's the second Merry for you. It's your second Merry Christmas or first?
Third, really, because we did my mom's side of the family Saturday, and then my dad's side of the family this past Sunday.
No. I mean year. I mean the year-wise for you with you and Melissa.
Of the marriage, yes. We've been together now. This will be, as of like a week ago, we've been together for 9 years.
All right, yeah. So you're an old pro at the couples Christmas. What to get the significant other?
Admittedly, no. I'm still a terrible gift giver. I basically just have to tell her, tell me exactly what you want, and I will get that. And it works out now. But the first few years, Melissa's a great.
Well,
gift.
If you have suggestion for what Mason Woods can get his lovely wife, Melissa Woods, you can leave it in the comment section at Joe Gaither 6. Leave us a comment, question, query, or complaint. But we'll specifically solicit gift suggestions for Melissa is anywhere between the ages of 22 and 27. So you want to make sure tailor it to that age range and give Mason Woods some good suggestions right there. What we're going to do today in the Derek Daniel State Farm Studio, right here off of McFarland Boulevard. Call Derek and his team at 205-758-3391 for all your insurance needs. Call and see how much Derek can save you today. Is give a few gifts at the end of the show. Mason and I will each give a gift to Kalen DeBoer. We'll each give a gift to Greg Byrne, and we'll each give a gift to NATO. It's hypothetical, of course. Money does not exist in this hypothetical situation. You can give your suggestions for what you'd give the three most powerful men in the Alabama athletics department for this Christmas season. But what else will we do today? We're just going to try to wing it today. Let's have a little fun talking holiday traditions. We'll talk a little bit about a defensive back who's going to make his decision. Look, Alabama did very, very poorly as far as in-state recruiting for the class of 2025. You look at the class rankings in 2025. Good. Alabama, what? 2, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, depending on whatever ranking you're looking at, whatever the website you're looking at. Most of them having it at 2, but under the hood, inside the recruiting class, very few players from the state of Alabama. That's okay. You give Coach DeBoer a little bit of a mulligan because you're coming into the cycle late. But now it's time to get onto the 2026 cycle. It's a full cycle. It's a full time for you and your staff, Coach DeBoer. Let's get after the state of Alabama. So you got a guy committing today. We'll talk about that in just a second. We probably will start there as Mason's kind of getting warmed up in the recruiting front with Zane Gibson. But we'll also talk about Bryce Young. Brycey, baby, they left you for dead. Ooh. They left you for dead. They said you couldn't do it. They said you were a bust. And now at the end of the Panthers broadcast yesterday. I don't know who it was on the broadcast, but I'm watching Red Zone, and they're going, "Oh, man, I don't know if I want to say this yet, but give me odds on Panthers 2025 playoffs with Bryce Young." How they wrote you off for dead. Mason Woods, why don't we actually start there?
Well, I love Bryce, and I think this is awesome. I think this is hopefully finally starting to see the trend shift back towards team maybe giving their new quarterbacks a little more leeway than they have in the recent years. It seems like we have really – it's gotten to the point where it's almost ridiculous now where you throw a guy out there for 8 games, and if he doesn't play well, it's like, all right, we got to draft somebody else the next season. It's just absurd how quickly teams move on from quarterbacks, and this season has been like the year of the thrown away quarterback having his resurgence here. Obviously, we're talking about Bryce Young, but then even just looking across the league, guys like Sam Darnold are having great years. I mean, Jared Goff has had a resurgence with the Lions. So, like, I really think that, hopefully this is the trend of the NFL. It's starting to move towards giving guys a little more leeway, especially at the quarterback position, because, by all accounts, that is the hardest position to play in the NFL, basically. They have to focus on, there's just so many moving parts of everything, so I'm very happy for Bryce. I think this is something we all knew he could do. It was just, we just needed to see it happen. And I think he needed to see it happen as well. I think it's a big confidence thing with him. I think he's finally gotten a little confidence under his belt, and we're starting to see what it looks like.
We haven't done a Bama in the NFL segment in several weeks, and usually we do that on Tuesday. So yeah, this does feel appropriate with Alabama football being kind of off, off for a few days. Sunday in the Panthers game against the Arizona Cardinals, Bryce Young is 17 of 26 for 158 and 2 touchdowns. You look at it, you're like, okay, 158, not so hot. He took 3 sacks. He also rushed 5 times for 68 yards and a touchdown, getting those legs moving. They won 36-30 in overtime. He didn't turn the football over. No interceptions, no fumbles. Now, the week earlier against Dallas, you lost, but you threw a touchdown. You threw 2 interceptions. You had 2 fumbles. The week earlier, the Panthers have been losing, but he has been looking competent. He threw 219 yards. He threw 191. He threw 298 against, who is that? TAM. Tampa, yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. 263, 263, then 120. Obviously, had his slow moments, but I think that Bryce. Look, just real quick, Mason, you hit it, saying quarterback is the most challenging position because, oh my gosh, my friends do this all the time. X quarterback is terrible. Y quarterback is awful. Z quarterback can't play. And I ask him, what's going on around him? What's this happening? Who are they? What's the play call? What's the play calling like? And 2, are they getting any sort of protection? And 3, is anybody getting open? Do you have any sort of run game that's leaving you any sort of balance? It is so dependent on everyone else that I think that you look at this Panthers team. Oh, it's awful. Everybody in the NFC, the NFC South is awful. Yeah,
it's a bad division.
Go ahead. But go ahead. I'm going to pass it to you right here. I think it's so dependent on everybody else.
That's exactly right, because you've seen the players around him have started to play better as he's played better as well. And like the Panthers as a whole have looked better. Chuba Hubbard has really, he was solid the first half of the year, but he has really turned it on the back half of the year. Adam Thielen comes back from injury and he becomes a solid receiving target. Xavier Legette has finally started to seemingly get a little more comfortable in the NFL and become a bit more of a receiving target.
How do you think he and Bryce Young are communicating? Sign language?
I bet, because there's no way Bryce understands a word he says. As someone, a South resident, I can understand everything he comes out of his mouth. I see all these videos on Twitter, and it's like, you guys don't know what he's saying? But, I don't think Bryce has any clue what Xavier Legette's talking about on a given day. But you just see it from, the players around him, the important pieces around him, running back, receivers, even the offensive line has played better. So all of that culminates into Bryce Young having opportunities to play better, and he is doing that. He's not just getting these yardage on checkdowns. He is making really, really elite throws in a lot of these games. If you just watch him play, he's doing things that are very, very impressive. He's looking like he did at Alabama in spurts.
So the Panthers are 4-11. We're not sitting here and going to say that they're any good by any stretch of the imagination, but they have had some uptick in their play. Exactly. They're not a team you want to dance with and tangle with if you are a contender over these last couple. Let's see, their last couple of games are going to be against the Bucs and Falcons, so they're definitely going to have a say in what happens in the playoff picture, because you look at the standings and you go down to the NFC South, and it's Falcons 8-7, it's Bucs 8-7. They get to dance with both those teams. I think that makes you uneasy if you are both of those NFC South contenders.
Definitely, especially if you're the Falcons trotting out your rookie quarterback now the last few weeks of the year. Whew.
Oh my God,
Rice is going to play spoiler to some teams. We'll see.
Mason, you hit the Falcons. I got to tell you a dumb story. Yeah, I know no one cares about anyone's fantasy league other than their own. But here's your dumb story. I'm in the semifinals. Whatever, I win. That's not the story. The other side of the bracket is the semifinals, and you got a guy. One of the guys, basically my cousin, my brother, love him to death. He wins. Great. He wins. Why? The other semifinalist decides, oh, Michael Penix is getting his first start in the NFL ever. I'd rather play him over C.J. Stroud.
Bold decision. Bold decision.
Bold. Fortune favors the bold, and that's usually this man's usual strategy. Is I'm just going to be bold, and fortune favors the bold. That's how he's basically. That's his MO. Great, awesome. But I could not believe the first start ever in the fantasy playoffs, and obviously it doesn't matter to any of our listeners their wins and their losses in somebody else's fantasy. But I just thought, wow, man, that's a choice.
All things considered, I mean, he didn't look that horrible. That's
what he keeps saying.
That game-losing interception was not remotely his fault. It was all on Kyle Pitts. So I think the ceiling could be pretty high for the Falcons if they can get some good quarterback play. And they got a very talented roster. It is still the Falcons, so they are forever cursed to never win anything. But next year they might be a fun team to watch with Michael Penix back there. Kalen DeBoer product.
Kalen DeBoer product, absolutely. Roll Tide. Well, not much going on in the Alabama football world. I wanted to bring up Bryce Young. We'll circle back to that. Yeah, last night, I mean, that's where we left you on the show yesterday. Josh Jacobs, I did win the fantasy football game. Josh Jacobs came, oh my gosh, started off just ripping and roaring. I look at my fantasy app, boom, 8 points. He scored a touchdown. And then he should have scored another. And then he gets in there. Apparently, he told Scott Van Pelt after the game that Matt LaFleur told him, hey, if we get you in the end zone right here, you're going to come on out for the rest of the game. And so that's exactly what he did. He ended up with like 24 points, and I needed to avoid him scoring 33 and a half or more. So he did start to, I mean, he scored those 24 points in a hurry, and it was like 17 at halftime or so. And I'm thinking, oh man, it's 17. If he goes out here and gets another 18 or so, I'm cooked. And he ended up getting himself another touchdown and sitting on the bench the rest of the day. The Saints, oh my gosh.
They're
Saints. I feel bad about the Bears, and I don't watch the Bears because they break my heart. We're in the Southeast, so a lot of you listeners and a lot of you viewers are probably Saints fans. I'm sorry. That's an atrocious product. That's at least for my sake, I can watch a quarterback who's semi-competent trying to make the other 10 pieces do something right. You Saints fans, Spencer Rattler, who was the other guy they brought in? Just awful quarterback.
Jake Hayner, I think, played a little bit maybe. It was ugly. Not many things going well for New Orleans right now. I mean, he got too much money locked up in Alvin Kamara and Derek Carr. Can't really do anything otherwise. Oof.
That's my issue right now. I mean, look, I'm not an NFL expert, but the Saints let's talk about it. Since when, Mason? Since 2009, 10. I mean, they win their Super Bowl. Great for them. And what a historic time.
Awesome year.
They have just been kicking. Obviously, with Drew Brees, you are a contender. You look yourself in the mirror and say, "We are a contender," and you are. That's the truth. With Drew Brees, you were. Period. Every game. And so, financially, structurally, they keep kicking the can down the road with Drew Brees because the window's open. Makes sense. But here we are now, what, 3 years past Drew Brees? 4? I mean, my memory all runs together. Correct me. Did he?
Yeah.
He's 4 years retired, right? So we're a handful of years past Drew Brees,
3.
and we're still kicking the can down the road on contracts and on re-signing veterans and on like New Orleans. I'm not a Saints fan, but this is the time. Drew Brees says bye bye. He retires. Great career, awesome, Hall of Famer. That's the time to blow it all up and say, bite the bullet. Everybody's gone. We're going to take some cap hit. Like, they're still stinking while still in financial peril. At least from a roster standpoint. I'm sure as an organization they're fine, but from a roster standpoint, hamstrung by a lot of these contracts. Like, this is the time, buddy, to just bite the bullet and say we're going to stink for a year or two while we purge all these contracts and just play a bunch of newbies who are just developing.
Yeah, there was never like a contingency plan for, all right, here's what happens after Drew Brees. Like they didn't have
they just try to plug in the next veteran quarterback.
It does not work. You've seen it not work for I don't know how many teams now. The Colts tried to do it for a few years. The Titans have tried to do it my entire life. It just doesn't work. You can't just go pluck some moderately talented veteran and just throw him onto a terrible roster and expect him to will you to the playoffs. It is not a success or not a recipe for success.
All right, so let's turn our attention to Alabama real quick because that's enough NFL talk for a Tuesday. There's going to be NFL games tomorrow, right? Christmas Day NFL games on Netflix.
Oh yeah,
I heard my uncle was talking about that. What's that about? Oh, who's playing? Let's find that out. That's going to be week 17,
Texans,
Wednesday.
Maybe? Yeah,
Chiefs
Texans,
and Steelers,
Baltimore.
Ravens and Texans.
Pretty good game.
Chiefs and Steelers, Ravens and Texans. Oh my gosh, that means that my fantasy football finals start tomorrow. I've got Zay Flowers. I've got George Pickens. Gross.
George Pickens gonna
I don't
play?
want to pay it. I don't know. I don't care. We'll figure that out. If I win or lose, it's no big deal. But I don't like that. Christmas Day NFL games. You fellas just played 2 days ago. Now, obviously, the Chiefs played on Saturday. Did the Steelers? Yeah, Steelers and Ravens played, right? Didn't they play Saturday? And Texans, Tank Dell broke his kneecap. Was that on Saturday as well, or was that on Sunday?
I think it was Saturday.
So they all played on Saturday, and then they mishmashed each other.
Yep.
They mishmashed opponents. Yeah, because it was Chiefs Texans.
Yes.
So they mishmashed opponents on Wednesday. They give them a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 3 days off, and you're playing again in 4 days. That's brutal. That's not cool.
Yeah, that's tough. I wouldn't be a fan of that. I do kind of like the Christmas Day games because I couldn't care less about the regular season NBA games until after the All-Star break. So this gives me something to watch that I actually can care about.
You're not going to watch Spurs and Knicks?
No, I'm not going to watch this. I mean, it might be on in the background.
Come on.
The NBA does not matter to me until post All-Star break. That's when I lock in and start paying attention.
I can't give you a Spurs assignment tomorrow? A little work to do?
No, you could. I could watch some Spurs. I could watch some Victor.
I'm teasing.
It's fun to watch.
I'm teasing.
That's just, the NBA. Hey, you see it, like, we are just having like a mishmash of topics on this show, but the NBA, like, a horrible viewership, and it's because it's the least accessible league of the major four. Absolutely ridiculous with the hoops you have to jump through to legally watch NBA games. Now, I do think that there is a lot to be said for the amount of people in our age range, this like 18 to 30, kind of 18 to 35, maybe. Like, I think a lot of those people are maybe turning to the internet to find their NBA content, but that kind of still is an issue in and of itself if no one can watch it on their TVs. But it's because the NFL keeps stomping them out every chance they get.
So the Spurs are
people yearn for football.
Yeah, the Spurs are playing last night, right? And they're playing at 6. And so here's my mindset. I'm working, and I'm nervous about my fantasy game, and I'm just looking for things to do. I'm going to watch the Spurs game at 6, and then I've got we'll watch wrestling. We've got a podcast, Bears podcast at 8. By the time I finish the Bears podcast, the game will be over, and I'll know if I won or lost. Great. I turn on that Spurs game. They're playing the 76ers, and we have on our work chat access to NBA League Pass. And it's good. Makes it easy. Great. But if you didn't have that, I think it would be very, very challenging. Now, last night's game was on NBA TV, so you might have had that on your cable package, your extended cable package. But look, it's unwatchable. It's an I mean, you got the 76ers last night. You got Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey. You got Paul George. So, like, big-time players. You're looking at the Spurs, and you got Victor Wembanyama, Stephen Castle, Chris Paul, Harrison Barnes. So, like, big-time players as well. The product is horrible. They are flying up and down the court, which is nice. They are. The ball is going up and down the court like a ping pong ball. But the players aren't always going with it because it's going so quickly that they can't all keep up. So it's not 5 go down, 10 go down, and 10 go down, like back and forth. It is a mishmash, a hodgepodge of players all over the court, and you're getting easy. But it looks like the All-Star game, but a little bit less. Like, you know how the All-Star game was like really, really not serious? And they're just jacking up shots. Like, these guys were like 11 for their first 35 or something like that. It looked like the Alabama game on Sunday, the Kent State game, but these guys are professionals, and they're just taking shots. And I just thought to myself, this is unwatchable. And I flipped over to wrestling at 7 o'clock, as soon as 7 o'clock hits. And like, sometimes I'm watching wrestling, and I'll hit it a DVR later. Like, I'll just keep watching what I'm watching. But as soon I'm like, get this off my screen. It was just,
it's not enjoyable. It's like you said, it's just it's 48 minutes of fast breaks. Like, it's not fun to watch. It's a bunch of 3-on-2s, a bunch of 4-on-3s, it's a bunch of 2-on-1s. There's hardly any like, all right, guys, let's run a set, let's run a set offense, run a set defense, whatever you want to do. It's become less and less fun to watch as the offense has gotten, I don't even want to say better and better, just more
the skill.
Like, yeah, sure. Because I mean,
the skill is better. The skill is, I can shoot way better than your daddy could 10 years ago. Like, okay, you're right. But
as far as it being better to watch, it is by far not better to watch, I don't think. And to me, I don't really enjoy watching all 5 guys go out there and jack up threes for 45 minutes. I'd like to see some of the post work. I'd like to see some inside game. I like to see the variety. It's gotten to where like both teams just do the exact same thing the whole game, and it's not very fun.
Yeah, and there's not really any, like, as you said, there's not even really a structure as far as plays. Like, even if you are trying to get a 3-point shot. Right. If you are trying to get a 3-point shot, that's fine. But it's just like not as, I don't know. It's not as fun. So all that to say, I'll be watching NBA tomorrow morning, and then I'll check out the NFL games after that. What did you find out about this fella, Zane Gibson, Alabama?
Zion Gibson.
Zion. Thank you. Well, thank you. That's the first thing. We got to pronounce his name right. Zion, Zyan. Zion Gibson is from Gadsden City High School. Is Alabama's first opportunity to start digging into this 2026 class in the state of Alabama. Mason, what'd you find out about Zion Gibson?
Yeah, this guy, if he decides to, he is committing today, I think at 2:30. So if he decides to pick Alabama, he would become the first commitment of the 2026 class. They lost their lone commit of the 26 class about a week and a half ago, Vodney Cleveland from Parker High School in Birmingham. I think he is still in the Alabama radar, but I think he just wanted to open his options back up because I imagine he's probably going to get a lot more interest as he gets into his senior year. So, but Zion Gibson, I think not really sure what position he exactly projects to. He's listed on 247 Sports and On3 and all the recruiting services as a corner, but he plays wide receiver as well. He lined up at corner, at least, just from what I've been able to find. He played corner in 2023, but then this past season he played receiver. And he was pretty solid at both. He only had about like 5 or 6 catches this year. So it might just be that, his stats are not available as from his time on the defense this season. But I think he had 5 catches for like 97 yards, 2 touchdowns this season, and only like 7 or 8 games. So, seems like I think he is very, very fast. He's 5'11". He also runs track, plays basketball. I'm looking here. He ran a 10.85 100 and a 22.19 200.
That's faster than I was in high school.
That's pretty fast. I think that's moving pretty well.
Is that faster than you were in high school? That's faster than I was.
That's faster than I could have dreamed about being in high school or even ever.
Pretty sure. I'm not trying to brag, and if this number sounds like I'm bragging, it is not. I'm pretty sure I ran a 12 something 100. like a 12.3, and like I don't think that's fast. It wasn't fast,
I
but
think
like
the one
I think
time
I
that
ran
I
like a 12 something
recall
hundred.
now it was hand time, so take this as you will, but running a 40-yard dash and getting timed, it was over 6 seconds.
Oh
I was a
yeah,
slow
Rich
joker.
Eisen, baby.
Yeah,
I think I was
real slow.
5.149 my last my last time senior year, but like I don't think that's right. It might have been 5.6.
But I think
it might have been 5.2. No, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't good. I'm not trying to say
mine
that.
was terrible.
This Joker
I was
is
slow.
fast.
My grandpa
Gibson.
used to tell me that he could time me with a calendar when I was a kid.
Thanks, Pops. Appreciate you.
But Zion Gibson, I think, like I said, he's extremely fast. I think whether you want to put him on offense or defense, I think he can play both of them. I'm looking here at his highlights. He has clips from playing corner, playing wide receiver. It looks like he's not afraid to get in and hit somebody. He's not afraid to get in and break up passes. He also does some returning, punt returns, kick returns. So he is seems like he's just kind of an electric athlete. And this is a guy that I think you probably want to get in early on because he will likely get a lot of attention going into his senior year of high school, much like I was saying with Vodney Cleveland. He's already a 4-star. He's already got over, I think, 15 Division I offers. His Final Four that he's choosing between today is Miami, Auburn, Tennessee, and Alabama. So he is very obviously getting a lot of national attention from some of the powerful programs across the country.
Mason Woods, do you have any concern that when you go to these pages and go to the class of 2026 that Alabama has 0 commitments? You've had commitments, as you just highlighted, Vodney Cleveland, and he's not the only one in the class of 2026 that has committed and decommitted. You had a defensive back. Was it out of goodness gracious? Was that a Kalira maybe? Was it out of Viger or Kalira? You had a defensive back. I can't remember exactly who it was. Commit and decommit as well. You had a couple kids in the class of 26 commit and reopen their recruitment. So again, the question, do you have any concern that currently on December 24th, 12 months away from next year's early signing date, Alabama has 0 commitments?
I don't think so yet. I think it's a little too early. It's still very early in the cycle. I think Alabama still has a lot of time to make up ground with these people. I think given just the state of college athletics, I'm not shocked that we're seeing more and more kids waiting longer to make their announcements because they are just going to continue to see what they can get out of schools money-wise and things like that. Yeah, so I don't think it's really a point of concern. Now, if we're sitting here, in September next year and they still have 0 commitments, then maybe we start to worry a bit. But I wouldn't really look into it too much. I do think, like you maybe mentioned earlier, that this is hopefully a sign that Kalen DeBoer and company are going to focus on some of the in-state players, maybe a little more this class, just because, like you said, they landed literally 0 of the top 10 players in the state of Alabama, 1 in the top 15. So not a great performance in-state, and that is kind of your bread and butter a lot of times is in-state players. So hopefully this class, they will focus there a little bit more. This could be the start of that.
You're from the state of Alabama. I am not. Do you care about that? Because I think it's a very split contingent. I think you got a lot of people that think, oh, you got to have all 85 guys right there from West Blockton, right there from Gordo, all 85 guys from the state of Alabama.
I think you certainly need
people who don't care about it. Like, what's the balance there? Because as an out-of-state person, I think, look, you're just coming here to play football and you're going to give your best anyways, like whether you're from Bumble, wherever, Timbuktu, or if you're from right down the road in Alberta, you're going to give your best effort. It doesn't matter.
I think it's less about being concerned with the effort level from the players, and it's more about showing the other schools in the state that, like, hey, we still run things here. We can still dominate on the recruiting trail. We can still keep players out of your backfield, and it's maybe more of just a symbolic thing than anything. Just staying competitive in state. I'm not necessarily concerned with Alabama being, they need all the top players from the state to commit, but get a couple of them, sure, I think is important to just kind of let everybody know, let the Auburns know, let the whoever that comes into the state of Alabama know that, like, all right, we're we're focusing on the kids that are here because Alabama still produces an insane amount of very, very good talent. Let's not like pretend this isn't Kansas or somewhere. Yes. It's very, very high level high school football at the top end. So there's a lot of really great talent that runs through the state, and being able to have access to it is not the end all be all, but I do think it's an important piece of recruiting.
Currently, the class of 2026 in the state of Alabama, Anthony Jones, this is from the 24/7 Sports Composite. Anthony Jones, 4-star edge out of St. Paul Episcopal in Mobile. That's Philip Rivers High School, isn't it? Philip Rivers coaching at St. Paul.
I think so, yeah.
Sedarian Morgan, wide receiver out of Benjamin Russell, Alexander City. He's currently, both these guys are projected favorites to land at Auburn. Not good. Then Hezekiah Harris is edge rusher, 6'5", 220, 4-star recruit out of Jemison in Huntsville. That's up in maybe where in parts unknown is located.
They would beat us by 60 every time we played.
Zion Gibson, the number 4 player in the state, Shadarius Tootle. I like that name. Shadarius Tootle, linebacker out of Cottage Hill Christian Academy in Mobile, is a 4-star recruit already committed to Auburn.
NIL jersey will go crazy.
Tootle, that's exactly right. Jaquez Wilkes, edge rusher, 6'4", out of Wadley, 4-star. Votney Cleveland, 4-star defensive lineman out of Parker. We've talked about him. JaMichael Garrett, out of Auburn High School, linebacker, is committed to Auburn already as a 4-star. Landon Duckworth, quarterback, 4-star, probably not going to be on your radar as a quarterback. Sorry. Then Marquez Daniel, wide receiver, rounds out your top 10. 4-star out of Booker T, Washington, in Tuskegee, Alabama. 6'5", 195 for Marquez Daniel. So there's some players out here probably not going to be interested in the quarterback. Already 1, 2, 3 of the top 10 players are committed to the Auburn Tigers. 2 more have crystal balls to the Auburn Tigers. Oh, yeah. So let's see. Zion Gibson, big moment for Alabama. First, what are you doing? Christmas Eve? What are you doing, man?
Come on. I get it from the standpoint of like he knows dang well everyone's going to be sitting at home, sitting on their phones, and they'll just see him come through on their Twitter timeline, and they can go from there. But you couldn't have done this like 3 days ago, or even a week from now.
New Year's Eve would have been a great day. Would have been a great New Year's Day would have been a great day for this.
Yeah,
all right, Mason, let's wrap it up here. We want to talk about holiday traditions, and we want to give Kalen DeBoer, Greg Byrne, and Nate Oats a holiday gift. Before we do that, though, we want to give you a holiday gift and tell you about Purple Turtle Roofing. They're the most reliable residential roof replacement company in Alabama. Whether it's addressing leaks, storm damage, or general wear and tear, Purple Turtle Roofing is going to be there to deliver exceptional roof repair for your property. They're the leading expert in local residential roofing solutions, specializing in providing unparalleled service and quality craftsmanship for all your roof replacement needs. Call Dustin Foley and his team today at 877-PT-ROOF-5 for your free roof inspection. That's 877-787-6635 to schedule your appointment, and one of their qualified employees will come check out your roof for free and make sure you're prepared for any and all of life's storms. Check them out online today at roofturtle.com. We appreciate Dustin Foley and his team for sponsoring the program. Hope you all have a happy holidays from Purple Turtle Roofing. Mason Woods, we're live in the Derek Daniel State Farm Studios. You are in parts unknown. So before we give our gifts to the 3 most powerful men in the Alabama Athletics Department, what are some of the favorite Woods holiday traditions?
Man, you mentioned that to me before the show, and I got to thinking, like, I don't really know if we have any like super intense traditions. I guess the most regular thing that we do each year is just like the way that we do the visiting my grandparents. It's always the Saturday before Christmas. It's always the Sunday before Christmas. It's always it's lunch after church on Sunday, and then Saturday evening my grandma makes chili and mac and cheese. I don't know why she makes that combination, but she makes a giant crock pot full of chili and a big tray of mac and cheese, and everybody just goes nuts for it. So
what was my invitation for that meal?
Yeah, you're welcome to come on next year. That'll be in the Morgan house on my mom's side of the family. But then, we go to the Woods on Saturday, see Andy and Kay, That's my dad's parents, and we had a good time. I got to see all my cousins. I have that's the side of the family where I have a lot of cousins that are my age, so it's good to see all them. They're all doing things, doing fun things. But it was nice. Those are really the only tradition. My immediate family in the actual like house here. We don't really do like any traditions, so to speak.
Did I hear that Santa Claus might have dropped off a Cybertruck into your household, into one of your households, into your family's household?
Oh yeah. My cousin, he bought himself a Cybertruck that he took us for a ride in this weekend. That was neat.
What do you think of Elon's toy?
I could go on for a very long time about Mr. Elon Musk and his stupid business ventures and the people who.
That's okay. Well, I just want to know what you thought of his toy. The toy
it was neat.
truck.
It's cool. It's a cool truck. It was cool. That's about it. That's I think the people that buy those things want a much bigger reaction than I would give them. It was neat. It's a cool, fast car.
That's cool.
There's a bunch of cool, fast cars out there. It's one of the ugliest. It's one of the most overrated and overpriced.
Well, did he buy it in all black or what's it the silver? The
no, he's got it wrapped in satin purple. Yeah, I love him, but man. To hear him say it, he says it's for his business to advertise. Now, there's no advertisements on the truck anywhere, but I don't know.
Well, there are no free ads. We're not going to give the
him an ad.
His business here. Oh, purple satin wrapping is a choice.
It's like that, almost like right between glossy and matte finish. It's got a little bit of sheen to it. It's a neat color. It would look a lot cooler on an actual cool car.
Unbelievable. All right. Well, I'll get up to back up to Chattanooga here in a couple of hours and spend some time with the parents. And that'll be great. It'll be a big family gathering on Christmas Day. Then I will get back to work. We're going to take the next day off, Christmas. We're going to take the 26th off. And what we're going to do on the 27th is really talk about the Michigan Wolverines. I don't even really know who's playing because all the guys are opting out. Not none of the Alabama guys, to be clear. No. The Michigan guys. A lot of the Michigan guys are opting out. Mason Graham, Colson Loveland. You got
what does it say about these two programs?
What's the running back Donovan something?
Donovan Mitchell. Donovan. No,
thank you.
Not Donovan. No,
that's the basketball.
That's the basketball player.
Anyways, they got a lot of opt-outs, and so we'll figure out who's playing. I know Alex Orgy is in the transfer portal.
Donovan Edwards.
Do they have any quarterbacks? Donovan Edwards. Thank you very much. We'll find out who's playing, and we'll tell you about that on our Friday episode. It's kind of TBD if I will grab my cousin tomorrow to do an episode like we did last Christmas. But Mason, before we get out of here, let's play Santa Claus. Let's put on our Santa Claus hat. And if we are Santa Claus, that means we have all the Christmas magic available to us. No budget. Everything is at our disposal. We have some Christmas miracles in our pocket if we want it. Who do you want to start with first? Who do you want to start with first? You want to give a gift to Greg Byrne? Do you want to give a gift to Nate Oats? Or do you want to give a gift to Kalen DeBoer?
Man, it's tough. I think Let's start with Nate Oats. Let's start with Nate Oats. And I don't think there's anything better that you could give him than just give him a nice giant blank check that says go get whoever you want. And I right there, I'd give him carte blanche to sign. Spend as much money as you want. Go get any transfer you want. Go get any recruit you want. Go get any coach you want if you want to go that route. Just bring anybody you want in. Or, hey, even if you want to, you can just go ahead and blow that on a brand new Coleman Coliseum, brand new basketball arena. Do whatever you want, Nate. We're just going to give you free money to spend it however you wish, as much as you wish.
I like that. That's a great gift for Coach Oates. We obviously are thinking about a basketball arena, and every time we go to Coleman Coliseum this year, we are inundated with the practice facility in the back end of Coleman being constructed, junking up the parking lot.
It's such
junking up the parking lot.
Just to hold us over, like we won't get you that arena, but here's this fancy new practice center.
Well, apparently that's what he asked for when the Kentucky Buzzards were buzzing. That's what he asked for was go ahead and give me a practice facility, and they said yeah. They said no, we can do that, but it has caused me to back off my maybe attendance tirade a little bit this year because, goodness gracious, the parking is horrific over there. And you've had a little bit of a challenge getting into Coleman Coliseum this year because of it, but it will be done soon. You're giving Nate Oats a blank check. And I'm thinking I'm going to save something similar. But I'm going to give Nate Oats. Like I'm thinking of how can you get this team to play all 40 minutes all the time? Obviously, assets would be great. You've got all the arc machines for the shooting, and obviously the new practice facility is on the way. And you've got a pretty decent little NIL package already. I think the budget's, not as good as everyone else's, but pretty good. Pretty healthy. You get the Nate Oats discount because you're sending the guys to the NBA. What I would get Nate Oats. What I would get Nate Oats is. Yeah, actually, it's going to spin me that direction. I'm going to get Nate Oats 2 NBA lottery picks this year in Darian Reed and LeBaron Philon to use on the recruiting trail to further enhance the Nate Oats discount. That's what we're going to do. We're going to get Darian Reed and LeBaron Philon in the NBA lottery. That's the top 12 in the first round. Not only first round picks, but the top 12 picks. Those two fellows are going to play well enough. They're going to continue to get comfortable in college basketball and become one-and-done players and play and get themselves drafted in the NBA lottery. That's what I would get head coach Nate Oats.
I think that would be a good pick. I don't think he would complain about that. I think he'd be pretty happy to pitch that to anybody. Pitch that to the next AJ DeBonsa.
Absolutely. You want to? May I take the lead for Greg Byrne? I've got my idea for what I want to give Greg Byrne.
For Greg Byrne.
I'm going to play off yours, and instead of giving him a blank check, I am going to give Greg Byrne a sports-enthused Alabama alum, a very sports-enthused, wealthy Alabama alum, a sports-enthused a la Phil Knight, per se, someone like that. But I'm going to make him, a recent graduate, maybe a crypto king, somebody who's up and comer on something like that may be a little nefarious. Somebody that might be up into some new wave money. I think that we're going to give Greg Byrne an Alabama alum that is feverishly passionate about the athletics across all athletics. That will like
Alabama's own Nevin Shapiro.
Exactly, that's what we're giving Greg Byrne.
I'm gonna give Greg Byrne. I'm looking at it here. It's not gonna cost me too much money. I'm looking at it on eBay. It's only ranging from $28.99. I'm seeing $35.99, and it's just an old Nokia 3310, so that he can stop tweeting. Because I'm sick of seeing it. I'm sick of seeing you get cooked on the internet, Greg. I'm sick of seeing you bring any bit of negative media to anything related to Alabama. Just stop tweeting for a little bit. Let's get you a nice brick cell phone. You can make phone calls and you can maybe send a text message. No more tweeting.
He said that on a recent radio appearance, that he was pretty good about ignoring the notifications, firing off a tweet, and turning the noties off.
No, I'm gonna get him a nice Nokia. He'll love it. Maybe I go even older than that, and go all the way back and get him one of those that you have to carry the tote bag around for. I think Greg would look nice with a big cell phone accessory on his side.
What are we going to give Kalen DeBoer?
This one's hard.
We probably should have started with Coach DeBoer, the newest member of the athletic department, the newest member of the trio. We probably should have started with Coach DeBoer. I've got something cheap we could give Coach DeBoer that I think might work. But I'm trying to be creative. I'm wondering if I can go better. I've got earmuffs. Okay. Earmuffs and blinders are kind of what I would give Coach DeBoer. But I'm trying to think, can I go any better? Because look, here the noise is noisy. The noise is noising right now. Failure, missed the playoff, bad year, not the right man, this, that, and the other. And look, that's coming from, as Kirk Herbstreit would call it, a certain fringe contingent of the fan base. But I would, if I were friends with Coach DeBoer, end up giving him some sort of earmuffs and blinders so he is insulated from any outside noise and continues to stay his own path.
I like that pick. I think that's very important for him, especially because of just kind of the situation he's come into with Alabama. It's such a strange, unique situation where it's like, Nick Saban was Alabama. Nick Saban, they became synonymous with one another. They meshed to where it was one, kind of being. And it's very hard to separate the two. And he is, trying to, and he's navigating these waters, and he's doing a good job of it, I think. But yeah, I think that'd be a really good gift for him. I don't really know what I'm gonna. If you could, man, oh man, maybe just like if we could somehow figure out how to give Trent Williams like a year of eligibility in college football and just yank him from the Niners, I'd just throw him on our offensive line and let him just go to work.
We can't give him a wild card and say Tyler Booker just says, "I love Alabama."
Oh yeah, there we go.
Coming back.
I love Alabama. Tyler Booker back. That'd be good. Can we maybe get maybe we can just get
Campbell says, "I'm not finished yet." Jahad Campbell.
Yeah, nobody. We'll just get I don't want to say everybody stays, because there's some people I'm okay with moving on, but we'll say
like who, Mason.
I'd be all right if Jalen Milroe decides to take his talents to the NFL because I'm very excited about Austin Mack. But yeah, I think I'll ride with that. Let's say Tyler Booker comes back. He decides, the NFL is not ready for me. That's what he says. And he says, I'm going to come back for one more year, ride with my boys. We're going to go win us a national title. That's what I'll give Kalen DeBoer.
What a gift it would be. And we hope that you get all the gifts under your tree this year. We appreciate everybody who has watched and listened to the Joe Gaither Show this year. You are a gift to me, truly. Appreciate Mason Woods very much for being on with the show with us. You're definitely a gift to me as well, Mason. So I appreciate you. We are going to take very likely tomorrow and Thursday off. We are going to be with our family. My buddy James might want to join me for an episode just to record something fun, but we'll play that by ear. We'll at least Mason and I will be back with you on Friday to talk about the ReliaQuest Bowl. Can we just call it the Outback Bowl? Can we just call it the Outback Bowl and be done with it? Makes it sound a whole lot better.
Get ourselves a Pittsburgh. I'm never going to call it that. It's always going to be Heinz Field. This will always be the Outback.
Get ourselves a Bloomin' Onion.
Yes.
Go to Outback, get yourself a Bloomin' Onion, and watch Alabama and Michigan this year. We'll talk about that on Friday, and we'll leave you with your families right here. From us to you, from the Joe Gaither Show, we wish you a Merry Christmas from BamaCentral on the BamaCentral YouTube channel right here on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We'll talk to you on Friday on the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral and BamaCentral.com.